we launched our new kids brand in September of 2024 and went out of stock in early December of 2024. We did $75,000 in revenue. We spent $31,000 on PPC, and in this video, we're going to break that down for you. We're going to speak about what our launch strategy looked like, why we went out of stock, and when we plan to get back into stock, how our organic ranking went, and we're just going to break everything down for you guys and let you know, did we make a profit or have we broken even? You'll have to watch the video to find out. But we're very excited and happy to be able to share this with you, and we'll continue making these videos every quarter or so, just giving you an update of what's happening with our new brand. So without further ado, let's get into it. For full transparency, I first want to do a little bit of screen sharing just to show you our actual numbers. So I'm in the Seller Central account. I'm just going to click apply so you guys can see it refreshing live. And you can see that from the 1st of January until the 31st of December, we had $75,000 in sales. And you can see that the majority of those sales started in September. Now you can see little peaks here. In the previous video, when Jonathan and I first shared that we've launched a new brand, we shared how the first product that came into Amazon had a lot of issues. We had put the word anxiety and all sorts of different issues. They're a part of a set. The set is also a book, and then it kept getting flagged. And there were just so many issues with the first product. So it didn't really get the attention that it then needed, because at the same time we were working on also in the background of dealing with all sorts of different things with the hero product. So the real actual launch happened in around September, and the majority of the sales are from the second product. And what we also knew would happen is that the hero product, which was the second product, and by the way, we worked on 3 products at the same time. It just happened that, you know, the first product came into Amazon as early as it did because there were less complications with making that. But this product, which is, you know, it was always going to be the hero product for the first initial 3 characters in which we built in our kids brand. So anyhow, you can see here that in around September is when all of the major sales really started. So if I change this to September, I'll go to the 1st of September, and I will then go to the end of September 2024. You can see that in the first month, when really the actual launch started at around this 22nd, that's when PPC we actually started the PPC. And you can see that the average sales order was at $33. Okay, now that's because we also had Vine. We had 30 Viners in September, and that's why the pricing also is lower, but I'm pretty sure that we launched at 32, if I'm not mistaken, or 34, I'll have to check. And then in a minute, you'll see how that crept up. So part of the pricing strategy was to start a little bit lower, and I'll talk about that in this video more in depth about why it actually has everything to do with Vine and nothing to do with starting low in order to get sales. And once more reviews started coming in, that's when I started to put the price up. So if I now change this to the end of October, from the 1st of October of 2024, okay, you'll see we did 15K, 400 units in October. And now the average price went up to $41, where before it was less. And then if I go to November, you'll see that the average price is at 44. Okay, and then if I go, I don't remember exactly when we went out of stock in December. We'll see that in a second. But then the price is at 48. So we ended up selling at $49.97, something that we launched at, I'm pretty sure it was either 32 or 34.97. And it was selling just as much at a higher price point than what it was at a less of a price point. And we'll get more in this video into also the reviews, but literally no one complained about the pricing. So you can see that from the 1st of September until the end of December, the sales were 70,000. So most of the sales for this brand came from the 1st of September until around the 14th of December, which is when we went out of stock. And this was the first launch as well. So those reviews, a lot of the reviews only came in obviously after Christmas. And then I also made this for you guys. Okay, so I very, very briefly just want to spend a couple of minutes showing you guys also how our PPC went. I think that these are important things, especially for newer Amazon sellers, and also to show, you know, how things can be done when you're launching. And we launched this obviously in 2024 on September 22nd, 2024 is when we launched our hero product. I'm going to mainly focus on here because this was the first product where we had many issues with the listing, and I've spoken about that in a separate video. So we're going to focus on this. This is also from September until December is when most of the revenue also was made. Over here you can see that around 70k was made from the 22nd of September, which is when we launched the hero product, until around the 14th of December, which is when we went out of stock. So very quickly here, we have a month, we have total sales revenue is this column. So that's obviously all of our sales revenue, including PPC and organic. Total ad sales, so this is revenue specifically from PPC. Total units sold, so this is organic and including PPC sales. Total ad spend, so this is specifically only PPC ad spend, that's why it's in red. Ad orders, units sold. So this is units sold or orders sold from advertising. And then we have TACOS, ACOS, and ROAS. I'm not going to get into that here. I have other videos on this channel from years ago that I made explaining these. And then we have organic units sold, which is obviously the total units sold minus the PPC sold equals the organic units sold. Organic sales on a percentage level, and then the PPC cost per unit, which is obviously the ad spend divided by the total units sold. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'm just going to focus on the launch. In September, which we also had 30 Viners in September, you can see that we spent $3,400 in dollars on PPC and made $5,000 in revenue. We had 136 units sold and 92 of that came from PPC. The PPC cost per unit was $25.18. Taking into consideration that this is the first around 2 weeks, a little bit less than that even, of launching a new product, which is a kids product just before Q4. October came along, we spent $9,178 and made almost $15,995 in revenue. 400 units sold and 302 came from PPC. So 98 units were organic units sold, and you can see the organic sales were 24%. PPC cost per unit was $22.95. Now, this is a full month of a new launch of a new product. We were just getting reviews in. I think at this stage, maybe we had 7, 8, 9 reviews, something like that. Maybe more. I honestly don't remember at this exact time. I'll make a separate video talking about just about reviews and Vine, etc. But you can see here how our organic sales were starting to improve as our organic ranking was improving, and the organic ranking was improving because of the PPC. Okay, so in November we spent $9,727 on PPC and made $27,577 in revenue. Here you can see we had 646 units sold. It was a full month of sales. 441 were from PPC, which means 200 were organic, 205, and 31% organic sales, which you can already see how that has increased, and the PPC cost per unit went down to $15. Now, not only that, also we put our price up in November, as I showed earlier as well. In December, which is literally only 14 days of PPC, we spent $4,423 on PPC and did 220, sorry, and did, I wish 200, we did 22K in sales, 468 units sold, 260 from PPC, and 208 were organic. And I also turned PPC off a couple of days before we went out of stock as well. So we had 44% organic sales, and our PPC cost per unit went down to $9.45. And I can say that around towards the end of November, early December, we were organically ranked on the first page, in the top half of the first page, for over 100 keywords, and they were buying intent keywords that also describe what the product is, plus also giftable keywords. So I just wanted to show you guys that before we get further into it. And now let's bring Jonathan on. So after we just showed you guys our numbers, I now have my amazing co-founder, Jonathan, on. I'll say quickly, hello, Jonathan.
Hey, Sharon. Hey, everyone.
Okay, so in this specific video, we want to get a little bit more, share a little bit more about our launch. But before we get more into that, I do just want to give a really brief introduction to the actual brand. So we did create a video, Jonathan and I, that I put up on YouTube a couple of months ago, introducing our brand. I'll put it up now. So on a holistic level, looking from a bird's eye view down onto the brand, on a brand strategy level, and we've been building this brand for almost 2 years in the background. The strategy here is we've built a brand that we want to be able to sell to a specific type of buyer, and then be able to resell, upsell, and cross-sell to that buyer over and over again, obviously as long as their kids are within that age group. So we have built, so it's a kids brand, and we have built characters, and those characters, they come to life through the books. And we have a few different hero products for each character. And then we have what we would be, considered the smaller products under that. So the PPC, etc., will go hardcore on the hero products. And then once the kids fall in love with the character, it should help us to then be able to either cross-sell or upsell or resell other products under that specific character. So all of the characters have some sort of gimmicky elements to them. And that also comes to life through the products as well. And you can see those gimmicky elements through the main image. And that is and they're not gimmicky in like a weird way or in a bad way. They're gimmicky in the way that grabs attention quickly on a search page. So that's really just on a brand level. We're here for the long term. We're not, just trying to make a quick buck. We have, we want to eventually be in stores, and we want to be able to have more sales on our own website. This isn't an Amazon only brand. We just happen to launch first on Amazon. But for the specific launch, the main goal was to get organically ranked for as many keywords as possible, to obviously, get reviews, and to get feedback as well from the market. And obviously if we need to then make adjustments to the products, and we would, but that was the main point of this, to really just get as many sales as possible that help us to drive organic ranking on the keywords that we wanted to be able to get organically ranked on. And yeah, so Jonathan, do you want to maybe just share a little bit more on our pricing strategy for this specific launch?
Of course. So we started at a lower price, and that was intentional. And the reason for that was, whilst we gathered reviews through the Vine program, just on Vine, by the way, Sharon's got a great video on that if you're familiar with the program. Yeah. So I'd recommend that you watch that. But we specifically set the price at $34.97, which was the entry point for launch. And the reason for that was for Vine reviewers to focus on the product and how amazing the product was, not on the price, because sometimes they can focus on, when you've got a high price point, that can be the first thing they focus on. And thankfully, through the reviews that we had, they focused on how amazing the product was. So it shows that strategy worked for us. So as I mentioned, we started at $34.97. Once we started getting the Vine reviews in, and all the Vine reviews were really, really positive, After roughly about 10 reviews, we then started to inch the price up. So roughly $2 every 3 or 4 days, leading up to our target price point of $49.97, which we got to roughly 8 or 9 weeks after launch. So that was our intentional strategy around pricing. Started at low point to always have the intention to get the pricing at a higher point. And like I said, we got there pretty much within 8 to 9 weeks. So
Awesome. So I want to just talk a little bit about our organic ranking, which obviously came through our PPC. So we were able to get organically ranked, and what we mean by that is on the front page and most of them above the fold, so somewhere in the first 10 places, let's just say, on a lot of keywords quite quickly. Now, let me explain how and why. This is a very, very giftable product. But after the Christmas season, so after Q4, we wanted to be able to still be organically ranked also on the not, gift keywords. So what do I mean by gift keywords? For example, which is a pretty broad keyword. It doesn't describe exactly what the product is. Let's just say gifts for girls aged 2 to 4, just as an example. Eventually, the search volume for those types of keywords does decrease. And also to stay organically ranked on keywords that don't specifically describe your product is harder. So it was easier, and part of the strategy was to get organically ranked for as many keywords that describe what the product is, or are a complement in a way to what actually describes that the product is. Get organically ranked there, and then in around mid-November, when we had more reviews come in, we had about, I think like 20 reviews, something like that. Then to start also going after the giftable keywords, but we're also organically ranked on the keywords that actually describe what our product is. So that was sort of part of the strategy, and that way I was optimizing the PPC every couple of days. Each time I optimize, I'm focusing on something different. But I always say, you have to, every single one of your campaigns, you have to know what the purpose of that specific campaign is. So I had, sales-driven campaigns, and I had ranking-driven campaigns, and at the end of the day, they had different purposes. But at the end of the day, one of the main and most important things was to get as many sales as possible, to then also get organically ranked as much as possible, to also help us with the reviews as well, so that we can also get feedback and, make changes where need be on the product, and, and in general, we'll see that we're all actually on the right page with the product as well. And on a PPC level, I will just say that, and also part of the strategy was to get organically ranked for as many keywords that had direct buying intent, so they described more or less what the product actually is, so that we could also then put more money into the broader keywords, right, that are more loose, and they're not exactly describing what the product is, but they could be more of a complement to it, because then we're getting organic sales from where we're mostly organically ranked. And then we can put more money into, the broader keywords as well. And that worked because, we were able to get 40% sales within 3 months, which is very good. So, and then on a PPC level, I will just say that a large amount of sales on a PPC level came from video ads. So we put time, money, and effort into creating amazing video ads for the product, and it worked. We were able to really disrupt the page and disrupt the search page with our video ads as well. Get those clicks, and and also the product is good. So a lot of those clicks converted. Our conversion rate was really, really good as well, especially very quickly. And obviously we'll see how it goes with our relaunch, and we'll keep updating as well. So the PPC did exactly what it was supposed to do. It got us the reviews. It was able to help us to get as many sales as possible. And it was able to get us organically ranked for as many keywords as possible. Had we not gone out of stock, I believe that optimization wise, we probably could have also gotten our organic sales to be even even higher. And yeah, so we were able to get 53 reviews by the time we went out of stock. And Jonathan, do you want to just share a little bit more about feedback and what we learned from those reviews as well?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Sharon. So as Sharon just mentioned, to date we are standing at 53 reviews. 90% of those are all 5 star. And we had a great reaction to the products that we've built, which, you know, as founders is great to see, and particularly the time and effort that we put into really thoughtfully designing the products. They're not off the shelf; they are thoroughly and thoughtfully designed. So to see the reaction was wonderful, really. So just to kind of give you a headline of what people were loving about the product. So they loved the design. They noticed and mentioned specifically we built this product for an occasion at home, and that was coming through the reviews that it was really, really tapping into that occasion. They thought it was thoughtful and well packaged. They really valued the interactive features, and we talk about gimmicky aspects, and this product does have a really cool gimmicky aspect, which both parents and kids are really, really enjoying and loving. So again, it's lovely to see that. And then the quality, something that came through, and obviously quality to us is a given, but just kind of from a review point of view, reinforces how important quality is. And we spend a lot of time with suppliers as well as inspections to make sure that the quality is really, really, really good. And again, that's great to see that coming through for us through the reviews. And then also Sharon said the product, whilst it is an evergreen product, it is also very giftable, and that was coming through, that we specifically saw grandparents, aunties and uncles talking about that they bought this product for their respective family members. So again, from that point of view, we know that during gifting periods, we've got a great product, but also throughout the year, we can sell it too. So we did notice some areas that required some improvements, or just kind of small levels of improvements. One of the parts of the product, there's a number of pieces to the product, requires batteries, and we made the decision not to include the batteries. The batteries are quite unique, but they are widely available, but some customers are struggling to find where to buy them. So that's the kind of job to be done for us to make sure that we're communicating clearer. Whilst we did make some efforts, we obviously need to do more to ensure that we can communicate where those batteries can be available, fully available on Amazon, most retailers across the US, but at the same time, customers, it was a pain point they were struggling to see. So we've made some improvements there for the next round. In terms of just a kind of little note around social media, kind of similar themes, that the gift appeal was really coming through. They felt that the designs was cute and magical, and really this kind of bond between the product and the kids that were enjoying the product. We saw a real kind of emotional connection from a brand point of view. Is a massive win for us, because essentially that's what we're trying to build with brands. We're trying to build an emotional connection, and then brand love already. We're still a relatively new brand, but we were kind of seeing some comments from, particularly on social media with influencers, that there's a really, you know, well thought through products, great brand, really nice brand. So that's kind of really good for us. And then just to kind of practical use, how it helps with that occasion that I mentioned earlier. So I talked about that we'd seen some improvements. Then when it comes to our return rates, we were at 1.68%, and that in kind of average for the category is between 5 and 6%. So it's a really good performance for us, particularly at the point that Amazon still have their extended returns window, which I think ends at the end of January. But as of now, we're still at 1.68. So it's showing that the return rate. And I think, Sharon, you sent me a screenshot once to say that Amazon noted that this is a, what was it? I can't remember. A highly unreturned. I've got the return.
Yeah,
wrong,
it had a really low return rate. I can't remember. I did send you that screenshot.
And it was great to see it was a badge. So we can kind of see that customers are loving the product and they're not returning it. And generally, even during that 1.68% of returns, most of those returns were actually because it was an unwanted item that actually somebody else had bought the same product for their kids in their life, which was nice to see. And there's just a couple of, you know, we had one aspect that was defective, but other than that, generally they were kind of really, really minor returns. So it was a great performance for us. And then just in terms of the next order, which we should come into stock in the next couple of weeks, but we have made some improvements to the products, and some of that was through feedback and also through what we'd noticed when we looked at influencer content and also reviews coming through where customers are kindly leaving videos or photos. We saw that or the unboxing experience, which we spent a lot of time on, we've developed the box to be printed on the inside. And to start with, that was a conscious decision, being kind of mindful of costs in the early days, that we didn't print on the inside of the box, but we are going to do that for the next round. And it looks absolutely fantastic. So we're kind of really excited to see the reaction to it from the current reactions that we've already had. So I think that's pretty much everything in terms of reaction. It's been a great first product for us in terms of the hero product, and seeing it's very rewarding for us personally to see that come through, despite all the ups and downs that everybody will have in anything that they do. It's really nice. I think it reminds us why we're doing what we're doing. So it's been a great performance so far.
100%. I think that something that was really, really important to us, and should be important to anyone building a brand, is that we put a lot of time and effort into the quality of these products, and seeing the feedback, the amount of reviews that also, not only said, like you said, a really thought out product, they also really, there were hardly any complaints about defects. There were maybe one or two in the returns. So the quality, which was something that was really important to us, and we weren't willing to compromise on that, was also something that we realized that we just absolutely can't compromise. And the reason I'm talking about that is because I want to talk for a second about our second order. But just to sort of explain what Jonathan just said is, on the first order, we had to be a little bit more conscious on a money aspect. There was a lot of money put into writing these books, not writing the illustrations of the books, and a lot of things that aren't recurring costs, things that are one-time costs. And we put a lot of time and effort into thinking about the unboxing experience of this product, because it's so giftable, and because we know that social media is going to be a really big part of this brand moving forward as well. And it should be a big part of anyone's brands today. It's if you're not on social media, you really do need to be on it. So I would say that we compromised on initially in the first order not to print on the inside of the packaging, but we didn't compromise on other things. So for example, it would have brought down the volume of the product quite a lot if one of the products in the set was shrink wrapped. But if it was shrink wrapped, it would have really impacted the unboxing experience, especially for the exact moment that they're unboxing, right? So for example, we didn't do that, which means that the volume of the box was a little bit bigger. It means that the FBA fees are a little bit more. And that's something that we said, okay, this is really important to us for the unboxing experience. And we didn't print on the inside of the box on the first order. And after, everything that Jonathan just said, and also the great feedback and how well the product went, etc., we said, all right, on the second order and moving forward, we also printed on the inside of the packaging as well. I did mention that we did go out of stock. And part of the reason, because we did actually put an order in on time, but we did have some issues with the production of the product as well. And because of the amazing reviews that Jonathan just spoke about, we knew that we can't compromise on our quality in any way. So we'll just say that that's just stuff that happens. It's not stuff that you can, especially when you put an order in before Q4 and an order just after Chinese New Year, which are rush hour times, and also just after Chinese New Year, also when manufacturers are coming back into when they're opening their factories up again, a lot of their staff are new staff. So there can also be quality issues then as well. From those reviews, we knew that we did a great job on quality, and we absolutely could not compromise in any way on quality as well. Part of the strategy for this brand is that we already know what the main hero products for each character is going to be, and those hero products have gimmicky elements to them. And those gimmicky elements that they have to them aren't gimmicky in a bad way. What we mean is there's depth to that, but there's gimmicky elements that are supposed to grab their attention from the main image and from the video. We spent hours building together the theme for the video to grab attention as quickly as possible, to show those gimmicky elements as quickly as possible so that we can get that click, and hopefully the rest of the listing allows them to then convert. But from the very beginning, when Jonathan and I were building the strategy from this brand, we always spoke about how we're not just going to be an Amazon brand, and we're also not just going to be in the US. We started with the US, but we always said that we can sell in any English speaking country, and we could even translate the books to other languages as well. We knew that we wanted to launch in the UK as well. Jonathan also lives in the UK. And that also means that, it's easier for Jonathan to also send out more personal um, products to influencers, book readings, all sorts of things like that. But on the second order, we're send stock. So in our relaunch, which we'll probably do in about two weeks because the products almost arrived into America, we actually also sent units to the UK as well. So we're going to be doing a relaunch and a new launch in the UK as well. And there were some things that were really important to you, Jonathan. Jonathan is very, very focused on buyers, which is very, very important. And as someone who's also British and understands that British English and American English is a little bit different, do you want to just talk a little bit about how we made those changes to what we're about to launch in the UK as well?
Yeah, so Sharon mentioned we will be launching in the UK hopefully maybe 6 weeks time. I think it will should be by the time the stock gets in. But particularly on the book and language, we made the decision to, I'm going to use the word translate. It's still English, but British and American English are very different, particularly spellings and actually some kind of grammatical aspects too. So I felt, being a Brit as well, that might be something if we were just to kind of broad brush send the same product with American English language, then that could lead to some negative reviews. And we all sometimes know that the Brits like to complain sometimes, so and I'm one of those. So I felt that was something that we couldn't compromise on. It's added more complexity because it means a different version technically of the book, whilst it all looks the same. The actual language is different. It's just like Sharon said, translating into another language, which has been a good test for us to understand that kind of production cycle and how we do it. But we have done it, and we're really excited to have the product launched here in the UK finally. So yeah, but I would
Yeah.
say things like that. It's, as Sharon said, we both, we're obsessed by our buyers and our customers, and we want to make sure that they have the best experience. It's all done with good intention, but there are some things you can and some things you can't compromise on. And I felt that language, particularly in the UK, was one of those. So that's the decision that we made to translate the book.
Just thinking about what you just said about how we're obsessed with our buyers, that's part of actually what anyone should be when it comes to building a brand, and especially with the strategy for this brand, where we want to not only build an amazing brand, but we want to be able to sell and resell and cross-sell and upsell to the same type of buyer. It's always easier to sell to the same person that's already in love with your brand again and again and again, rather than to need to always acquire new buyers. And of course, you need to consistently acquire new buyers. But if you're able to sell again or cross sell or upsell to the same type of buyer, that's obviously, especially when you can. That's how we built. That's a strategy for this brand at the end of the day. And if, for example, we would have sent that product into the UK, because it has a book in it, and parents are reading books, let's just say to kids or whatever it may be, and it didn't have the right type of English, and then we're launching the second product, that could also impact that specific buyer's interaction with the brand for the future. And our buyers are really the most important thing for us here. And the way that they interact with the brand is something that is so important to us. And these are things that are really important because the times have changed. And if back in the day people would say, oh, I'm an Amazon seller, we're not Amazon sellers, we're brand builders, and we just happen to also sell on Amazon. And we've launched this brand on Amazon, but it mean to get into stores and mean to sell, we already have our own website, but to put more effort into sales outside of Amazon, etc. And everything's about timing. We do everything, especially at the right time. But being obsessed with your buyers is, I think, being obsessed with our buyers, and also you specifically, Jonathan, putting a lot of time and effort into, what our buyers need, etc. I think is what is going to really make our brand different from from others. So yeah, that's really our update. Something that we didn't say, which I do have written here, and I think that we should say, and I did say that we'll talk about it. So we didn't lose money on the first order. Our margin was 6%, taking into consideration everything that we just spoke about and how much time and effort we put into ranking and understanding our keywords and getting, the reviews, etc. But we obviously mean to not go out of stock in future. If we wouldn't have gone out of stock, that flow would have been better. Now we need to relaunch, etc. And obviously it'll take us not too long, but I do think we'll quite quickly get back into our organic ranking. But we'll make an updated video on that. So we will just say that we have though we've gotten to a price point where our landed cost is 20% less on the second order. And in general, something that I, because I work one-on-one with clients as well, I always say, get the product in, get it to market. Even if it's not 100% perfect, but let's just say 90% perfect, get it in and then figure out the not necessarily the profitability, but how to make it work once you get that feedback as well, and figure it out in the background. So part of the reasons that we also were able to get the pricing down 20% was also obviously the larger amount of units. We ordered more units this time. But also we're working as well on in general bringing the cost down, not just because of the amount of units that we order, just also just sourcing in a different way as well. So,
and I'd also probably just add there, Sharon, that
yeah,
we've managed to get the cost low, but we've also enhanced the product on two parts. So we
true.
mentioned about the side of the packaging, and there's also another element that we've enhanced part of that product. So the fact that we are doing more for less, I think, is a really good story to tell and to share with you all that, it's not about cost cutting. This is about always making sure that we're enhancing the product, but doing it for the best price that we can get. So over time, that will just get even better as we get to much bigger volumes.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I think that was our launch, how our launch went. That was our video. We hope to at least every quarter make a video on updates. We'll also make more videos according to different things that we're going through with our brand. And thanks so much, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.